Hello my crafty peeps, it's Cheyenne from ecdesignstudio.com. Alright, we are going to be putting together a card today using the Paisleys and Posies stamp set. Now, I got the bundle. I was tossed about getting this set because I'm like, what am I going to be using this for? I love it! It is one of my favorites. I can see me going back to use this years from now. Like, it is really awesome and gorgeous. Alright, so I'm going to be using the Thankful, Grateful, Blessed sentiment today. Now, on my last tutorial, I showed you how to make this paper here, your little background. You heat emboss with the gold, excuse me, with the gold Stampin' Up! Embossing powder using this stamp here. And then once that's done, you watercolor with your stamp pads. And I used Calypso Coral, some So Saffron, and I think that was it. Refer to my video to see how exactly to make this. So now we've made it, let me show you how to use it. So other things you're going to need: your Calypso Coral ink pad, of course, the Paisleys and Posies stamp set. Like, seriously, it's worth buying this set. And the thinlets for this, the framelets, they're awesome. You know, yeah, words cannot express. Alright, this is a piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4, very vanilla cardstock. And then we've got crumb cake. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 to make your card. So this is going to be our card base. In fact, we can go ahead and fold that up. Now, scoring your lines really gives you some nice crisp lines, and the bone folder really helps to compress them so you get something good. Alright, so our card base is all set up. Now let's work on the card front. So we've got these two pieces, they're the same size. So I want to cut down the very vanilla, 1/4 inch off of each side. Probably could have done this before. Alright, so I just cut off 1/4 inch off of this, so it'll be 4 by 5 1/4. So why don't you go ahead and start out with that. Now, from this piece, I'm going to cut 1/2 inch from each side. There we go. So this will be 3 3/4 by 5. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is actually cut it again. So, because I'm going to have two pieces and I'm going to split it and have enough room for my sentiment to stamp on this, and then have our little pattern piece on each side. So, yep, I want approximately 1 inch. So from actually the short side, so from the short side, the 3 3/4 side, I'm going to cut off 1 inch. And you notice this is not a Stampin' Up! Trimmer. It's on my wish list. Alright, so we've got that inch off, and now I'm just going to cut it a little bit down because I don't want it to be in the center of this. I want it to be down a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, because yeah, this is now 2 3/4. So I think I'm going to go with about 2. Now let's go 1 3/4. So there we go. So that's how that's going to line up, and then I'm going to have my Thankful, Grateful, Blessed right there. Alright. So to simplify it, this is actually by 5. So you can take your piece, cut it to 2 3/4 by 5, and then cut at 1 3/4, and you'll have your pieces instead of having all of these pieces. But you know what? It's kind of nice to have all those pieces, because then they're quick little scraps when you're just tossing cards together that you can kind of add on. Oh. It's just kind of how I roll. Alright. So I also think I'm going to corner round all of those. So I'm going to get my Project Life corner rounder. And I'm just going to do these outside corners. I think that'll add a little something. Now, if you guys haven't gotten this corner rounder yet, do it. What are you waiting for? Yep, that looks right. You know what? I'm also going to ink up the edges of this. Because I like inking up the edges of things. So let's go with some soft suede. And grab one of the sponges. So this is a piece of the Stampin' Up sponges. They come in a big round circle. And I just break mine up. Sometimes I'll cut them up, I'll tear them up. You know, it all depends on my mood. I do like to use like these little corner pieces, almost like wedges. But that's your own personal preference. You can choose to keep them whole and just keep washing them if you wanted. Those of you who watch The Walking Dead will probably recognize Negan's whistle. It's going to be Walking Dead time soon. I'm excited. Anyone else? And yeah, I have that as my text message notification for certain people. And they're people that I like, so it's okay. Alright, so now let's go ahead and adhere this down, just using my snail adhesive. Alright, apparently I'm out of baby wipes. They're probably all packed up. Whenever I'm inking the edges, I tend to get ink on my fingers, so try to be as clean as possible, because when I don't, I end up getting fingerprints all over what I'm trying to work on, especially when it's something I'm trying to work on clean. Alright, we've got our sentiment, our Calypso Coral. Let's go ahead and ink that up. Ta-da! Alright, so you can leave it like this if you wanted to. Have my Stampin' Mist and Stampin' Scrub off to the side. Seriously, this makes cleaning your stamps so easy. So much easier than using the baby wipe. The baby wipe I use for my fingers to clean off my silicone. Alright, this is the trio of ribbons from the holiday catalog. Alright, so we're going to use it like that. And we're going to use the cheater method to adhere this ribbon, which requires a little bit of Scotch tape, and you're just going to tape it down. That instantly gave it a little bit of dimension, a little bit more fun. Alright. And yep, now I'm ready to adhere it on, so here's my snail adhesive. I'm going to use one of my favorite dies from the Paisleys and Posies set. I believe the dies themselves are just the Paisley thinlets, framelets, something like that. So, alright. Yep, we're going to use this one. This one is my favorite. I love it. It is so wonderful. I used this one, which is going to be fun too. So I cut out 3 of these from Whisper White. And, you know, since we got all of this here, I'm going to kind of do a little bit more. It's not just going to be the mint macaron. Let's get in a little bit of tempting turquoise in here too. You know, get a little fun watercolor effect going. Now I'm only going to color the top one because I'm going to adhere these on top of each other so it has a little bit more dimension. Alright, so there we have our colored one, and now we're going to take our fine tip glue and we're going to adhere these all together. And try to actually do this in frame. Sometimes it's easier said than done, especially when things are so zoomed together. So just layering them over each other. There we go, let that dry for just a minute. Now hey, while we're close up, the fine tip glue has this little needle in the top of the cap that goes right into the nozzle so that it always stays clear. As if that starts to gum up and dry up, it's going to be kind of hard to use the glue pen. Alright, so now just going to go along the sides. I'm thinking just like that, let's bring you in a little bit. I think I zoomed you out a little too much. Alright, so let me get that fine tip glue back out again. Okay, so ideally, I'd have the other die over this, and then it would sit right there, just beautifully, and it would be wonderful. But sometimes sacrifices have to be made. Let's add some Wink Stella on top of this, because a little shimmer and glimmer makes everything better, right? And I'm also going to add a little rhinestone, at least one, possibly more. Alright, yeah, I think. A little rhinestone right there. Let's go ahead and pop one over. There's a little dot between thankful and grateful. And then, yeah, let's add one there. And I think I'm going to call it a day for the rhinestones. So, there you go. Nice quick card. You can keep it without this. Maybe just add the rhinestones. You know, make it as simple or as intricate as you want it. You know, there's definite stopping points. You don't have to add the rhinestones or the flowers. Could have been done with this card ages ago, but I had to get all ambitious. Okay, so here's the finished card. Alright, lots of bling bling. Now I did adhere it with the stem on, but I decided I didn't really like that, so I cut the stem off and I just stuck it on. So it's just the tempting turquoise. Kind of wish I had colored that in the mint macaron, but you know, we live, we learn. This is the art of crafting. We make mistakes and we learn from them. So anyway, I really like how this turned out. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please remember to like and subscribe. A full list of the products I used with links to my online store will be in the coordinating blog post, which will be linked in the description bar below. Alright, thank you again. Happy creating, happy crafting. Bye!